Hello and welcome everybody to today's edition of Mexico News Network's Breaking News Business. I'm your host, Elliot Bullman. Remember to follow us on all our social networks and to catch us every day by logging onto our website, mexiconewsnetwork.com, for relevant stories and news. Let's start with today's show. Save app, a Mexican smartphone app, helps you to reach savings goals using an electronic piggy bank. The app already has 15,000 users, and the company expects that figure to rise to 50,000 by the end of 2016, with its expansion throughout Latin America. The popular savings tool has come about in response to the need for people to save money, with only 32% of Mexicans doing so, according to a survey from Provident. Save App's proposal is simple: to encourage savings by rounding out your daily expenses, recurring payments, or by paying yourself a percentage of your expenses. If you're one of the many who say each month they'll save, but at the end of the month don't, Save App may be the solution. The first thing to do is to create a goal. Then the app will remind you through notifications to save a certain amount, depending on the goal and within the time frame you want to reach it. Transfers to your account or Save App Cloud are made from a credit or debit card at no cost. Your credit balance can be used with affiliates like Expedia, Despegar.com or Amazon.com. Or, if you prefer to spend the balance, transfer it by applying a fixed exchange of 3.8 pesos plus 69% of the balance commission. If you are saving for a bag selling on Amazon and I use your pig for it, you buy it there and then and ask for shipping, and you won't get charged for the service. It's a win-win because these stores give us a commission, says CEO and co-founder Octavio Novello. Novello adds that you can also create savings groups for a particular purpose, helping to put pressure on the group to achieve your collective goal, even though saving is individual. From planning and launch in 2015, the app has raised $450,000 from private investors and Wayra, the Telefonica group. In 2017, Save App will launch in Argentina, Chile and Peru, where there's demand for the service already. Next year, the company will seek to raise $2.5 million in venture capital. Moving on. Most people think of Apple as a company that makes phones, computers and smartwatches, not an energy provider. But in August, all of that changed when the firm was given permission to sell energy from a Californian solar farm that it acquired last year. Apple has invested in renewable energy before and says it ultimately wants all of its operations to be powered by 100% renewable sources. It's not alone in such efforts either. Online retailer Amazon just announced the construction of a new 253 megawatt wind farm in West Texas. Google, meanwhile, has invested in the Ivanpah solar electric generating system, and it recently joined forces with the company SunPower to provide solar panels to homeowners. Why are tech companies so interested in renewables? For these big corporations, electricity is one of their biggest costs, says Ash Sharma, a solar energy analyst at IHS Technology. Locking that in at a low price is really critical for them. Why, though, would Google be interested in putting solar panels on people's homes? The firm says it wants to map the planet's solar potential. The data from these panels, including their uptake, could inform future energy strategies. And as the cost of building a solar farm plummets, the world has witnessed a rise in jaw-droppingly big installations. Only a few years ago, says Sharma, a 50 megawatt project might have been considered big. But there are now several facilities poised to produce a few hundred megawatts or more. The tech giants are some of the largest and most powerful companies in the world. Maybe it's not really a surprise that they're getting into energy, because as they know very well, everything else depends on its production. In other headlines, after a brutal week for Republican presidential nominee Donald Trump, Democrat Hillary Clinton maintained a substantial projected advantage in the race to win the Electoral College and claim the US presidency, according to the latest results from the Reuters Ipsos States of the Nation project released on Saturday. If the election were held this week, the project estimates that Clinton's odds of securing the 270 electoral college votes needed to win the presidency at more than 95%, and by a margin of 118 electoral college votes. It's the second week in a row that the project has estimated her odds so high. The results mirror other electoral college projections, some of which estimate Clinton's chance of winning at around 90%. For the Trump campaign, there are a handful of states the Republican candidate must win if he's to cobble together enough states to win the White House. Among them is Florida, but numerous recent visits to the Sunshine State by Trump and his vice presidential running mate, Mike Pence, did little to dent Clinton's advantage in the contest for the state's 29 electoral college votes. She leads by 6 percentage points, about the same lead she enjoyed last week. Still, the race tightened in Ohio, another important state for Trump. Both Ohio and Nevada were leaning toward Clinton last week, but are now toss-ups. However, Clinton's support grew in North Carolina and Colorado, both of which moved from toss-ups to leaning towards Clinton. In the last week, the Trump campaign struggled to respond to allegations from several women that Trump had groped them or made unwanted sexual advances over several decades. Trump said the reports were lies and part of a media conspiracy to defeat him. All of the allegations came after the Washington Post disclosed a video from 2005 of Trump describing how he tried to seduce a married woman and bragged in vulgar terms how his celebrity allowed him to kiss and grope women without permission. And finally, let's take a look at the markets. The Mexican peso decreased 0.86% to 18.69 from 18.85 in the previous trading session. The peso changed down 0.98% during the last week, down 4.68% during the last month, and up 13.36% during the last year. Mexico's IPC index increased 0.49% to 47,890 from 47,657 in the previous trading session. Mexico's IPC index changed down 0.26% during the last week, up 4.28% during the last month, and was up 7.56% during the last year. This was all for today. Thank you for staying with us. I'm your host, Elliot Bullman, and remember to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Google+. Log on to our website, MexicoNewsNetwork.com, for more information on Mexico and the world. Until next time.